Oh, game twos. Game twos, Francis. In the books. NBA playoffs, first round series, has thrown many a curveballs my way. Let's get this just out of the way first. I don't know what the F is going on with the Celtics. I peg them to be, for the second straight playoffs, much better than they clearly appear to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not ruling out any kind of turnaround or a 6 or 7 game series, but it very much seems like the Bulls have Brad Stevens on lock and they cannot do and execute what they were able to do so well. Man, when Jimmy Butler's on, is he an unbelievable two-way player, but he's also had consistency issues at times this season. So 2 more games of that, Celtics win, the Bulls win this series easily. Yeah. 2 more games of Jimmy Butler playing like that, maybe 5. Dwyane Wade, man, he could be 50. He can't dunk anymore. Not sure if you saw this. He got rejected by the rim. He can't dunk anymore. Put the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left. He's going to knock down your shots. And Rondo was what, plus 1,000 yesterday?
Yeah, he looked good. Rondo, and he did like to rub a little salt in the wounds. He said that the Celtics fell apart, and I think that was kind of a note to, they're not my Celtics. They're not the Celtics that I played with. There's a couple of things I take from this, Jason. I watched the game. I enjoyed the game. The first thing I'm going to state is this just proves that the seeding means as much to me and probably the rest of the basketball world as decaffeinated coffee. Like, what is the point in even using that to take any sort of indicator as to how things are going to go, how your day's going to go? If you get decaffeinated coffee, your day's not going to go very well. That's probably.
To be honest, I've never understood the point of decaf.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like, do you like the taste? No one really. Everyone likes the taste of coffee once you taste it and get the caffeine, and then you're like, oh my god, I love this taste because it gives me this jittery feeling. But if you're tasting it and it's decaffeinated, you're like, oh my god, I love this taste. Oh, what the fuck is going on? Bang. Anyway, yeah. So that's my point. Is that the Celtics were never the 1 seed. We know this. They only got the 1 seed because the Cavs decided to play like they were limpless and effortless towards the end of the season.
I'm just confused. Like, even if so, they're not the 1 seed, right? Yeah. They're not playing like a 1 seed. They were still a top 3 seed.
No, I agree, yeah. And they're still expected to be able to perform better. However, I do think that some players do take influence from the pedestal that they're put on. And because they were one of the first, because of how dominant the Cavs have been, they were seen as a team that's going to just be ahead, and now they've kind of been held to that standard. And if I would think the Bulls have played them to that standard and treated them as if they are playing against the Cavaliers, and they've rolled over them. Jimmy Butler has been phenomenal.
Seriously,
we've said this, one of the best two-way guards in the league when he's on his day. And as long as the Bulls as a team got on board with that, they were always going to be a problem. I quite enjoy the fact that they're playing well, because if we go back to September? I don't know. Go back to even the draft.
October's when the season tipped off, and we all were wrong about the Bulls, and they were like 4-0. And then then all of a sudden they were 5-11. And we're like, what the F is with this?
I'll tell you when to go back. Go back to when you came back from the NBA Summer League, and you were talking about the pieces that the Bulls have added with some of their youth, but then the decisions they made to bring in Dwyane Wade and Rondo, and that combination of youth and experience.
Oh, we just didn't know.
I believe that we were somewhat optimistic. Now, I'm not saying we called this. Like, the Bulls, towards the end of the season, didn't look good, and that's what is expected. But that's why I love the playoffs, because things can just change.
I'd go as far to say at this point that, look, there's going to be takes today, and I'm sure as we're shooting this clip, because it's 10:45, Nick Wright is on Fox Sports 1 saying that the Celtics are the biggest frauds in basketball. And he has a right. I'm sure he's got a really good argument as to why. Andre, in a way, was discussing that the point differential was never exciting, and that the Bulls aren't really an 8 seed because the East is so discombobulated that the 8 and the 5 were, what, a game and a half apart through most points of the season? The same as the West. I think the 8 and the 5 weren't that far apart, or at least the 7 and the 5 weren't that far apart either. So, I mean, in the Celtics notes, like, Avery Bradley's been diabolically bad. And through those first 2 games. This is Avery Bradley, the lockdown guards that they have. Marcus Smart has been otherwise absent. Granted, he had some decent passes yesterday. I'm not harping on Isaiah Thomas. There's too much baggage that comes along with that one. I know he's got a lot going on. I can't sit here behind this desk and even claim to know what the hell's happening going through his head just because it's been X amount of days. It might get harder for him.
Yeah, it might have just been.
I have no idea.
The sudden impact of the thing, and the fact that he was able to go in and play basketball a couple of days after and deal with it might have just kind of deflected the situation from a little bit. Because I've dealt with loss. I've never dealt with a sibling loss, and hopefully not. But sometimes it's a slow burn in a way that you don't really understand the consequences of the situation until 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Now, that's not saying that that's the main reason why the Celtics are playing the way they're playing. They're losing to a team that we were all sitting back thinking, my God, this Bulls team are falling apart. Rajon Rondo posted on Instagram that was comparing his vets to this Bulls team in a way just saying, you suck, you suck, you suck, you're not Kevin Garnett, you're not Paul Pierce.
I was wrong. Like I've always said, I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong, because I was. Really, to wrap up on the Bulls point, their organization's a dumpster fire. Obviously, it's not translating to what's happening on the court. Just because your general management literally wants to set the building on fire doesn't mean that the on-fire building isn't giving Dwyane Wade a hot hand with 2.5 minutes left to get. My God, just give him the ball. He's going to turn into Paul Pierce at some point. Just give him the ball. He's going to hit bank 3-pointers to call game. Like Dwyane Wade. Always like Dwyane Wade. But God, did he not get up? Oh, 35 years old. He can't dunk.
Gabby Union needs to get rubbing out those calves, man.
Dunk. Gab Union also said that it was really funny after like game 1. She goes, it was on Twitter, because she was quote tweeting Dwyane Wade saying, we rode Jimmy Butler all night long or something like that. And Gab Union's like, I'll just wait. Which is funny. Clippers. Clippers took care of business, played hard all 48 minutes. DK, Dan Keston, was at the game, of course, sending me some angry texts, some happy texts, one of which saying, that's what we needed, a Blake Griffin 3. which, I mean, look, Blake played very well. Blake played with strength. He was dominant on both sides of the court at multiple times, and he played 39 minutes. So maybe that's the difference. The greatest player on the team and maybe of all time, Jamal Crawford, did not play so good. He's been very bad in the 2 games, actually, which crushes my heart. I love Jamal Crawford. He's my favorite player, like one of my 3 favorite players of all time. But in all seriousness, he can create his own shot, but none of them are going in. He was 3 of 12, man. You can't, we know he's a microwave. You can't go 0 for 5 from 3, though. We need you to hit some threes. Chris Paul, phenomenal. The Jazz, though, without Gobert, this is a devastating blow. You never want to see other teams' players get injured, especially the second or third or first best defensive player in the league, who has a drastic impact on the series altogether. The Clippers were up, and they stayed up. But I'm sure I'm speaking for anybody who's watched Clippers basketball with 7 minutes left in that game when they're like up 8 points. You're thinking, seen this storyline before. It could be a 2-point game. It could be another buzzer beater just in another team's favor. So they go back to Utah with a 1-1 series, and Gordon Hayward's got to step up his game. I thought he might have been an all-NBA 3rd or 2nd team player. I'm changing that very quickly. He's good. He's having his best season ever, but the true colors come out in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. It shows the stuff that's not as easily, I don't know, admirable when you're watching basketball. You can take in the qualities of players pretty easily, engage what their best assets are. But then when it comes to crunch time like this is where, as you always say, it's the stuff that's inside that you're made up of, and whether or not you have the clutch gene or you have the ability to do it consistently when it matters. So yeah, it was good to see the Clippers tie up the series, and I'm excited to see how the series moves forward in Utah. Still not going to be an easy task, but Rudy Gobert, you don't like to pinpoint these things based on other teams' injuries or what changes. Like, how many times are people saying that the reason the Warriors didn't win is because they put the X next to Draymond, or because he was out for that game or whatever? Like, these always happen with teams. If you were to go back and try to figure out every different scenario that could have been, you're going to be at it all night. Things change. Players get injured. Players get suspended. That's why it's a sport, because then you have to overcome that. That's why you need depth. That's why you need these things to take into place.
Clips, maybe after years of being injured in the playoffs, they're just going to give the karma back to every team.
Yeah, everyone's going to fall.
Like Draymond, Clay, and Steph all get injured, miss the series next.
And then will it count if they went all the way and somehow won it? I'm pretty sure the Clippers fans would be like, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, of course. Look, man, you play who's in front of you at all points. It's not. You can't control the injuries unless you're actually like slugging somebody in the face,
kicking
which
someone
is not
in the nuts.
past Draymond Green to do at this point. Lastly, Raptors. Kyle Lowry played great.
What a great shot.
So I can't say anything about the Raptors. Literally, whatever I say is going to get you wonderful commenters to just write ridiculous things. I said on Twitter there are elements of Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry's game. Now this started, and it's something I've actually said before, a lot of the time because, and I'm not even kidding, they have big butts.
Yeah.
And they use that
low
to
center
their
of gravity.
advantage. They do. Low center of gravity, big butts, and they use it to their advantage. I'm not even joking about it. Watch them. Watch their butts. Watch their butts movement. I know this is the weirdest thing you've ever heard.
No, it shouldn't be. Like, people get so weird about stupid things. Football reference, Eden Hazard. Always, people talk about his butt. Go watch it.
Big butt.
Huge ass.
Creates space.
And it's because he's so small and low in center of gravity. He's able to pivot and move a lot better because it's all muscle. Like, that's partly the reason why it's there, so they're able to just shift and move. There's a reason why Chris Paul has the ability to turn on a dime better than most players and can leave people with ankles broken.
Momentum with the butt.
Yes, so it's all about any posts up with it, he can use it because he's got the ability to put that booty into the right place.
This is my point with so first of all, and I also mentioned, so Serge Ibaka didn't shoot the ball well, but just so everyone's aware of this, he had the best plus minus of any player on the court, bench or starters in the entire game.
Yeah.
He was plus 13 for the night because defensively, I have to say, Serge Ibaka being back in a useful role is one of the best things you can see because he was part of that Thunder team that made the finals. He was a major role player. Now, don't get me wrong, that Thunder team had Durant, Westbrook,
Harden.
bench James Harden, a different James Harden almost altogether. The James Harden that we saw on the Oklahoma City Thunder is almost the same as the Tracy McGrady we saw on the Raptors. And what I mean by that is they are entirely different players. When T-Mac went to the Magic, he became a prolific scorer.
Yeah.
And things changed under new head coaching. Same thing with James Harden. Actually, it changed twice. And this time we got Mike D'Antoni to unlock all of that. So we don't know that giant what if James Harden stayed. He might have just been a sixth player of the year his whole career.
Interesting.
We have no idea. But in this case, seeing Ibaka back in a useful role, he was hitting the three ball very well, and he was defensively there and strong and physical. And that's one of the things that really stood out to me is how do you get in the head of Giannis? Well, he's 22 years old, he's big and he's strong, so play him like a big physical guy.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They got him out of a rhythm early. I think he missed his first 5 shots, and that changed a little bit towards the end. He actually finished, I think, 9 of 24, which is not good. But again, another guy, just look at the plus minus of some of these players. How good is the team when they are on the court? Comes to the playoffs, this might be the most important statistic. So he was plus 6. Chris Middleton was in a rhythm early on shooting because a lot of the focus was on Giannis. So Middleton was open for some better looks. Finished not so good from the field either. And Dellavedova in his rec league floater, which is mean, but true. If you watch it go, it's like I have Dellavedova's floater. That's my shot. Doesn't even work in rec basketball. It's not going to work in the NBA. But we're not harping on Delly for no reason. And Thon Maker played 20 minutes. Could be his age. Giannis played 42 minutes. Also could be Thon Maker's age. We don't know. My point was Kyle Lowry does have some Chris Paul in him, and I like when that comes out. Here's what I can tell you always about the Raptors. Always. You can show me a box score in a Raptors playoff game, home or away, it does not matter. And there's a couple things that you can show me specifically. If you show me Lowry and DeRozan's field goal attempts and field goals made, I can tell you if they won the game or not. Almost every single time. If it's above 50%, they won the game. If it's below, they didn't. So the game goes past field goal percentage. So I actually thought I disagreed with something on Twitter. For you Raptors fans, had your back on this one at least, when somebody said that Kyle Lowry's career playoff shooting percentage is around, I think, 37.9%, which is bad. But the game is more than that. It's more than just how you shoot, especially because that would be a bigger problem if that was DeRozan's field goal percentage. Lowry does more than that. So I like seeing Lowry hit the clutch shot. We've seen him do it time and time again. It's just a consistency matter. It's the same to me as Paul George and Jimmy Butler and the Pacers and the Bulls, that these guys can string together great games, but when they disappear, the whole team goes down with them. So, Bucks and 7 still. Sorry.
Bucks and 7?
Bucks and 7, I said. Bucks and 7. I'm probably wrong, just so everyone knows.
We'll see. Only time will tell.